Hey guys, Account Second here, and this is the info video for Season 23 of the Pokemon NASCAR Series. The series was formerly known as the NASCAR Pokemon Cup Series, but we went under a new name, but the same old car set. We're using the Gen 6 car set again for 2016, but we're going under a new name and a little overhaul, a bigger schedule, by the way, and a bit of an overhaul, and I'll explain to you what the overhaul is about when we get to the schedule. But first, let's introduce you to the Season 23 drivers for the Pokemon NASCAR Series. Here we go. In the number 1 for Chip Ganassi Racing is Nathan Hudson. He is returning from the series, one of the biggest and most popular drivers in the series. He's coming back in the number 1, running McDonald's, by the way, as his paint scheme, and running Chip Ganassi. In the number 2 for Team Penske is O'Neal Balvin. They're running sponsor SKF for this season. Balvin, a veteran, and he has moved to a new team. Another returning driver, number 3, representing Richard Childress, is Max Skinner, running American Ethanol. And Skinner is also a fan favorite, and he is back in the series. In the number 4 for Stewart-Haas Racing is Billy Bishop, running Jimmy John's Sandwiches for his sponsor. I know there's a lot of hate against this guy, but he's in the series, and I guess he's the most hated driver in the league right now. But Bishop is returning in a new team. Number 5, we have Gabriel Wanderley for Hedrick Motorsports, running Panasonic Toughbook this season. Wanderley, by the way, as you recall, was in the 98 last season, had that close finish, and now in a bigger ride. Number 6, we have Roush Fenway Racing's Cooper Syron, running Advocare colors in that legendary 6 machine. In the number 7 for Tommy Baldwin Racing is William Brock, another returning veteran, and he is running Nico Toy State for his sponsor. In the number 10 for Stewart-Haas Racing is Elijah Gordon. He's running Tax Act for this season. In the number 11, we have James Richardson, out of Joe Gibbs Racing, running FedEx Express. In the number 13, a rookie this season. Not a lot of rookies, by the way, in the roster, but, well, there's still a couple notable ones in the series. Number 13 is Amare Stoudimere Jr., running Germain Racing and Geico colors. He was a Pro Series veteran. Now he's a rookie for the Pokemon Cup Series. Number 14 is Mason Powers for Stewart-Haas Racing, running Jansen's Arnie's Army. Number 15, Anthony Lopez for H. Scott Motorsports, running 5 Hour Energy. In the 16, another rookie for Roush Fenway Racing, Kermicah Jazzin, running Roush Performance as her scheme. Number 17 is John Andrews, also from Roush Fenway Racing, and running 40 Go Boost. The number 18 is another rookie from Joe Gibbs Racing, Jason Herlson, running the M&M 75th Anniversary paint scheme for Season 23. Number 19 is TA2 Racing's own Leia Walker, running under the power of Joe Gibbs Racing and using Subway as her main sponsor in the 19. Number 20 from Joe Gibbs Racing for DeWalt Tools is Ban Braley. Braley running the USA paint scheme this season. The number 21 for Wood Brothers Racing, PPG, Dylan Theroux. Number 22, another rookie, Team Penske Racing's Shell Pennzoil car, run by Jarrod Lewis. Number 23 for BK Racing is Payton Beasley, running Dr. Pepper. Number 24 for Hedrick Motorsports is Brandon Nichols, defending series champion. He started his this season it was originally going to be in the 95 car, but he moved to the 24 at being the champion and all. And so he's now in Hedrick Motorsports, looks to defend his title under a new, stronger team. So he's running 3M, by the way, this season. Number 27 for Richard Childress Racing, it's Grayson Acevedo. And it said sponsor Caterpillar. It's actually Valvoline sponsoring the 27 this season. Number 30, representing Bahari Racing, whatever, I guess I'll go with that. And Gumont is Kyle Collins. Collins in a new ride, by the way, 30. There is a 30, by the way, in real life, but I'm using that other 30 with the old version of 30 instead. Why not? Number 31, we have Sam Rogers, also from Retro Children's Racing, running Granger as his paint scheme. Number 32 for Go Fast Racing is Justin Roberds for C&J Energy Services. Number 34 for Front Row Motorsports, it's Abe Troxell, another rookie and running Love's Travel Stops as his paint scheme. Also from Front Row, number 38, Snap Fitness, Kev Shearer. Shearer last season was in the 35 for Front Row, and he actually had a win last season. He's now moved to a full-time ride for the team in the new number and a new sponsor. Number 41 for Stewart Haas Racing is DJ Kurtis. Haas Automation will run his paint scheme. Monster Energy will be in the back. Tony Green is back in the 42 for Chip Ganassi Racing, and he's also kept his Target paint scheme as well. Number 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports, Rocco Twyman. Twyman moves to the 43 machine for Smithfield Foods. Number 44, his teammate, is from Richard Petty as well, Holden Gluba, running Albertson's Shore Lounge this season. Number 47 is Fry Food Stores, JTG Daughtry Racing's Jonathan Fitzwater. Number 48, running Hedrick Motorsports in the Superman colors, by the way, Benjamin Miles. Number 53, TA2 Racing's very own Luke Walker, running Harley Davidson as his paint scheme. And another TA2 car, Pichu, moves to the 55, getting his power from Premium Motorsports. Number 78 is Ian Siegel, out of Furniture Row Racing. Siegel in a brand new ride in his return. Another returning champion this season as well for BK Racing, number 83, Jonny Gardner, running Scholter Systems as his sponsor. Not number 88, representing Hedrick Motorsports and also having the Batman colors, by the way, along with Miles, who has Superman. This will be interesting between the two, between Batman and Superman. And this season, number 88 for the Batman paint scheme is Chris Dodd. Number 95 for Circle Sport Levine Family Racing, Cheerios Colors, is Daniel Voyles. This was originally Brandon Nichols' ride before he moved to the 24, but now Voyles will take the 95 out of Circle Sport Levine. And finally, another former champion returning to the series in the number 98 for Premium Motorsports, so I guess it's technically Pichu's teammate, RTIC Coolers, James Shelly. And that's your field for Season 23 of the Pokemon NASCAR Series. Now let's take a look at what the schedule will hold. Alrighty guys, here is the schedule for the PNS Season 23. We introduced the drivers, and now let's introduce the schedule. It's going to be a bigger schedule this season, and you might notice that some of these, only very few of them in fact, have race names. Well, I've decided that starting this season, I'm not going to name the races because basically they're just not necessary to name them. And also, I'm running out of ideas for names for these races. Since this is being a bigger schedule, I've ran out of ideas pretty much for naming each race one by one. It was getting harder, and it was just not necessary anyway because, yeah, it just didn't really matter in terms of just running the race. You just want to watch the race. You don't really care about the race name. But so it was harder. It was getting harder to come up with better race names that I hadn't used already. So I decided to just leave it like that and just run the races as they are. So anyway, so we probably, except for the very few races that have names, I'm just referring to each race as Pokemon NASCAR and then whatever track they're going in. So Pokemon NASCAR Homestead, Pokemon NASCAR Orlando, etc. So anyway, so that's how the races will be referred to as from now on. So anyway, here's the schedule, and it's again much bigger than last season. I think there's 35 races this season, up from 5. But we want to try out some tracks and possibly, I want to try out some new tracks, and so we want to make this a good season. But anyway, here's the schedule right now. We have Daytona, as always. The season begins at Daytona. The Daytona 500, one of those races that have race names. The rest, though, don't, except for some exceptions. We'll get to that later. But anyway, the second race after Daytona will be Homestead. Homestead, by the way, is going to host the second race. And then the third race is Orlando. You can recall, if you are not familiar, it's the track that goes counterclockwise. The only super speedway that goes counterclockwise. And that'll make for some exciting racing. Homestead will be just as good, too, because of its banking. Interesting banking. You won't believe how interesting it will be for those of you that are new. Richmond will be the fourth race of the season, and as I try to just connect to one place to another, then go in Florida, a couple of first three races, then go up north, and then going to the middle states, then to the southern states, a little wrapping up the southern, then going west to wrap it up before the World Tour. That's what I was trying to do. Then after Orlando, they head to Richmond. Richmond's a short track, if you guys probably already know what Richmond's about, but we're gonna have a race there again. It's always fun. And then a new track this season. I've been wanting to try out Martinsville for a long time. I think I finally found a version that's really good, that doesn't really become a wreck fest nor become a bore fest. That meets somewhere in the middle, which is what I like about it. Martinsville, I found a version of that. Hopefully we'll get to hopefully that race will be not a disaster. Then we head over to Blue Ridge Speedway, a favorite among a lot of drivers in the series. That's a super speedway, really fast, under the lights, really fun. Then it's Coca-Cola Super Speedway, a traditional track. It's one of the few tracks that's been on the schedule every season. It's also a fan favorite because of the banking and the wideness of the track, and it's also really fun to run in Coca-Cola. And then we head over to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We have run a couple New Hampshire races in the past, but I found a version I think that's probably the best of them all. So hopefully that will mean that New Hampshire would be here to stay if the racing there is pretty good. If I like that racing there, if it's up to par. But anyway, after New Hampshire, we return to Chicagoland. The Chicagoland Race Speedway. Another popular staple. And then Gateway. We go back to Gateway. Gateway has been much better than what we had previously. And so we're returning to Gateway. And then we go to Eldora. And that's going to be completely different than what you normally see in any Pokemon NASCAR race. We're going to be having our first race in Eldora since I think season 4, 5, or even 3. But we're finally going to return to Eldora after like 20 seasons away from it. So Eldora finally is going to have another race again in the series. That's going to make 2 dirt track races this season. One is in right here in the States, and another is in Europe. We'll get to that later. But anyway, we head to Kansas after this. After Eldora, it's up to Kansas. Again, I found a version that I think will be the best of them all, and hopefully it'll be really good. So that's where we're heading to Kansas. And then Darlington Raceway, the return of the Lady in Black. It'll be a different Darlington, by the way, than what we're used to seeing, and I'm going to try that out. But if that doesn't work, we'll go back to the other Darlington that was the best for us. So, yeah. And then we head to Atlanta, Texas, and then we go west to Phoenix, Las Vegas, Ontario. That's the track where we had the closest finish in Pokemon NASCAR history last season under caution. So hopefully we will have just as an exciting race this season. And then we wrap it up before the World Tour to Auto Club Speedway. Fontana, by the way, that has gone way better than what we've run in previous seasons. And then it's World Tour 20. After Auto Club, we will have our All-Star race. That All-Star race will be in Phoenix this season at Phoenix International Raceway. Twinix will host the All-Star race this season. And then it's World Tour 23. We head over to 11 different tracks across 11 different countries. 9 different countries, I should say. 9 different countries. Anyway, we start off at Calder Park in Australia. That's the Thunderdome. That's the other track that goes counterclockwise, but it is a speedway, not a super speedway. Or I should say it might be a short track. Either speedway or short track. Somewhere in the middle of there. It's much different than Orlando. It's the second track that goes counterclockwise, I know that. But it's a little different than, it's much different than Orlando. It is much shorter, it's less speed, it's more strategic than Orlando. So anyway, and then we go to Brno, the return to Brno circuit in the Czech Republic. I know that's been a popular stable. I like the racing there, but I couldn't handle it there because it was so much lag and a lot of other reasons. But hopefully, well, we're going to make a return to Brno, make some tweaks, and we're going to return to that track this season. Then we go to Spa-Francorchamps, a return to Spa, and everyone's been wanting to return to Spa. I've been wanting to return to Spa-Francorchamps. That has pretty good racing for a road course, except turn 1, though. It can always be tough on the very first lap. So, yeah, it'll be a challenge for these drivers to endure the triumphs and triumphs of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. That'll be fun. And that's our second dirt race of the season, Veltins Arena in Germany. Yeah, you could recall Veltins is back. It's a much shorter dirt track than Eldora, and it will be interesting for these guys to run in. Then it's Raceway Venray in the Netherlands, a short track that has some pretty good racing, and that's why we keep coming back to it. And then it's the road course Bikerneki in Latvia. It's a tricky road course for these drivers, so they'll be turning to the test. And then it's Rockingham, UK, the quad oval shape. Some of you probably have already seen races in Rockingham, UK, and that is a very popular track among some drivers, and that'll be very popular. Nathan Hudson will be returning to his home track, and that'll be an exciting one. And then we head to 3 races in Canada, triple header in Canada, starting in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, then going to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, and then heading to 349, the streets of 349, where the turn of death lies ahead between these 40 drivers. That has always been exciting to run at 349, and it will be another exciting race there. And then we wrap up the World Tour with dual races, by the way, that determines the chase. That'll be in the Suzuka circuit in Japan. Suzuka has been twisty and turny. It's like the shortest road course on the circuit, but it's one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting, road course in the schedule. So, yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, and then the final 5, the chase, will be on. We will go to New Jersey Motorsports Park. No, wait, not New Jersey Motorsports Park. I'm sorry. The Super Snack 500 New Jersey, the Super Speedway one, you could recall. For those of you that are longtime viewers of the series, you know what the Super Snack 500 is. And then we go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, then it's followed by Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then it's followed by Talladega Super Speedway. Yeah, we almost end at Talladega. Then we head to the championship race in Zandvoorts, as always. So that'll decide a champion for season 23. And one more thing, the chase this season is going to be extended to 10 drivers. That's right. It'll be 10 drivers out of 40 that'll compete for the chase this season. And of course, a win gets them into the championship no matter what in any of the 4 for those 10 chasers. And we could have 4 or 5, and I'll explain to you how it will work when we get to that point. But there will be 10 chasers. Instead of 8, there'll be 10. That's like a quarter of the field. A quarter of the field will be chasers after Suzuka. So that'll make things a lot more interesting and more competitive. We'll explain more on the chase when we get to that time. But I just want to introduce you to the schedule and the drivers for this season. So good luck to everybody, and we'll start the series. Hopefully, I could start it off somewhere around this week. Maybe this weekend. We'll see. But anyway, this is the account second here, and I'll see you guys later.